Live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Okay, thank you guys for coming out to Texas Southern Communication Week. Entertainment, recording and management session. We're going to talk about having success in the music business. Having success in the music business. And this will be a treat for you guys, especially because we have experienced individuals at the stage. And I forgot to add one thing. Having success in the music business, experience matters. Exclamation point. Experience matters, okay? So if you have a notebook, you know, a pen and pad, take that out and take notes. This is special. It is truly special. I'm going to start by introducing myself. I'm Professor Williams here at Texas Southern University School of Communications Entertainment Degree Program. I've been here along with Professor Matthew Knowles from the inception of the program back in January 2007. And we take a lot of pride in this program, and we are trying to elevate it and take it to another level, and we're thankful for being here and give hats off to the chair and the administration that really is putting this on. We're going to start by introducing I want to say a friend of mine that I've done business with, and we go way back. That's little Kiki down there to your far left, my far left. That's little Kiki, and I mean, what can I say, little Kiki? I mean, that's Southside. That's Houston, Texas. That's back with DJ Screw. That's it's not just a legend and a pioneer, but a movement is what I want to call it. Keister is a movement, and we're so happy to have him here to bless us with his knowledge from going back totally independent in Screw time, making records with DJ Screw, and then parlaying that to Jam Down, all the way to Commission Music Group. Then he went to Koch. I was there with him to do deal with Koch, and then Universal Swisher House. It goes on and on, okay? And we don't know how many records he sold. He's going to tell you about that. But then we go next to him. That's Derek Dixon, better known as D-Rec, Rec Shop Records. And my goodness, what can we say about D-Rec? He's a pioneer down here of when I say independent record sales, and I'm quite sure, and he'll explain this better than me, but without major distribution, no one sold more independent records than D-Rec down here, including Rap-A-Lot Records. D-Rec is a bad man. Starting from Fat Pat to ESG, Pokey, Big Mo. Of course, everybody knows Big Mo right here, Third Ward. I mean, it just goes on, and he's going to discuss going independent versus major recording deals and distribution and things of that nature, and he's going to explain more things about himself and what he's currently doing. We also have Derek McKinney, President and CEO of Loud Music. Derek has been ahead of his time for years, especially when it applies to social media. Okay, and this is the day and age of social media. He's been talking about social media and being proactive and marketing and selling, merchandising, streaming before it was popular. So what better person to have, what better expert to have on the panel than a good friend, Derek McKinney. And we have our own Professor Knowles. My goodness. Just a true mogul, you know. It's a blessing for us to have him and his knowledge here on campus, you know, and constantly feeding back into the student body. But what's so impressive is to start off with Destiny's Child and make history. It goes into Beyonce's own personal career, his own daughter, and then to what was so amazing for me to see and to get it very quickly is the new. I don't want to say almost like TLC, because we don't want to put a name on it, but his new group, Blush, that's about to blow. So here we go again. And he'll be here hopefully with us while it blows, and that's going to make history again. So we have Professor Knowles here. So those are our panelists. And once again, our theme is having success in the music business, and experience matters. Okay? Experience matters. We'll let you guys do Q&A, but what I thought we'd do for the students is we basically start off with a living legend here. Kiki blessed us with his time and graced us with his presence. I want him to kind of introduce himself and kind of say how he himself went from actually working hand in hand with DJ Screw and what that was like, and how that influenced his career in terms of making the song Southside, which turned into an anthem, a true to life anthem, along with the dance. Okay, and he did this independently. He went from making music with Screw to doing his smash hit Southside. Now that's the beginning of his career for all we know. I want him to elaborate and start the panel off by discussing the effects of DJ Screw, making music with DJ Screw, and parlaying that into making Southside. Come on, Kiki.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate y'all having me today. Well, starting with DJ Screw was a very instrumental part of my career, and the great thing about it was, the most that I can remember, it was for love. Now we do so much music now, and it's for money, it's for fame, it's for accolades. And when I started with DJ Screw, the most important thing about it was for love. We didn't go to DJ Screw House to become stars. I tell people all the time, I never did a demo, I never did a talent show or nothing like that. Going to DJ Screw's house was a friend thing. It was a neighborhood thing, your neighborhood against my neighborhood, and just having fun. So when I started going, I was 16 or 17. I actually caught the bus to Screw House when I first started. And Screw was an innovating DJ trying to start something new that everybody wasn't able to catch on to, was slowing down music. When people first heard that, they thought the batteries was broken, the radio. They thought we was tripping, and what we doing, this music slow, especially everybody who came in from out of town. So going to DJ Screw House and starting with him was very, very important for me, because it was still for love. That's when I did it for love. I didn't go over there to try to make no money. I just went over there to try to be, actually I went over there to try to get the crown from Fat Pat. He was the freestyle king at the time, and it was something I wanted to do. I wanted to be the freestyle king. So I started with him, and it was like 93 or 94, but we didn't get our first real start to get into the game maybe to like 1996. That was when Screw dropped 3 in the morning. He gave me an opportunity to be on that album, which he didn't have to, because it was already going through a lot of things of how to get the album together, how to do it, because we couldn't use people from New York records, we couldn't use people from California records. We had to use records that he was already mixing around, like, Pimp C and Bun B and Point Blank and Street Military. So when Screw gave me an opportunity to get one verse on the album, that's when we made the song Pimp the Pen. And Pimp the Pen changed my life. I remember being 17, not even able to get into the club, and going to the club at 2 o'clock in the morning just to sing that one song. And they was paying us $2,000 just to come sing that one song. $2,000, that's a lot of money today. You know what I'm saying? So, they was paying us $2,000 to do that one song. And going to Screw House, man, like I say, we used to love to, catch rides over there, catch the bus. And when I went over there, before I got there, I was already practicing for so long on the corner and standing up with my friends. So when I got to Screw House, I blew his mind with my freestyle. He thought that I could be one of the best in the city. He got behind me. He told me, man, I want you to meet a guy named Fat Pat, which I already knew who Fat Pat was. I was so nervous to even meet Fat Pat. Fat Pat was the best. So the first day that me and Fat Pat even ever hooked up, we made history. We made a song called Funk on Your Mind. That's a little bit before y'all time, so y'all wouldn't know. But this blew us up. This made us real big. And like I say, it drove us to the 3 in the morning, which was starting my career with independent records. And Draped Up and Dripped Out was actually, Pimp the Pen is the name of the song. That actually was the first song ever played on the radio from a Screw standpoint, from a slow down standpoint. We didn't even we wasn't even connected to the radio at all. It was parts in our life where we didn't even know what 97.9 was. Matter of fact, it was 102. We wasn't even worried about getting played on the radio or nothing like that. So that started my career as far as being an independent success. And this 18 years later, I sold 2 million records independent, and it was great. That's basically the start of it. And Screw, you know, a lot of people think that, you know, Screw was just this, you know, hell-bent DJ, that he wasn't fun. Screw had a love for everybody. He had a love for North Side, love for South Side. It wasn't just a South Side thing, but it was dedicated to us and our neighborhoods on the South, and then it spread it throughout the city. So starting from the bottom, the one thing that I tell people was great, make sure you have a love for what you do first before you try to get in it to make some money, because that's what got us started, the love. We went over there, we wasn't gonna make $1. Screw was selling those tapes for $10. Now he was making a killing, but we wasn't making $1. We only did it for love, and that's what jump-started my career and got me going to where I needed to go, the love of the game.
Okay, Ken, we appreciate that. And you talked about pimping pins. That parlayed into South Side, and I want you guys to pay attention to the work ethic. We're talking about success in the music business, okay? And experience matters, but before he got his experience, his work ethic was out of this sight, whether it be on the corners, whether it be at home, he was practicing. So when his preparation met the opportunity, it wasn't luck, okay? It was success.
Well, Southside actually was, it was like 3 or 4 different versions to it. We started with it at Screw House, where we done a little freestyle and we kind of put it together. So once we came from the Pimp the Pen era, I had all kind of offers on the table to be able to do my first solo album with Big Time Records and Jam Down Records and a few. So just being young, I went with Jam Down. They had the most money for me to take at the time, so that's what I did. And the first thing I wanted to do was recreate Southside because it was such a big buzz. Now, not speaking on the bad part, when I was younger, I was incarcerated for a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 months, and people don't know that every day at 7 o'clock, some guys on this side of the tank, they used to do a song called the North Side.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So us on this side of the tank, we figured out that we wanted to do a song called the South Side.
Yeah.
And when we used to do it, we used to beat on the bunks, and we used to do it through the Friends beat. So I'm talking to Screw one time on the phone, and I'm telling him, hey, I want to come home and do this song called Southside, and I want to do it on this Friends beat.
Yeah.
So, long story short, when I came home the first night we did a classic Screw tape called Home Sweet Home.
Okay.
For me. And Screw put the Friends beat on, man, and it was classic, and it became one of the biggest Screw tape songs ever. And, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't even named Southside at the time.
Wow.
It was just, you know, me doing a freestyle about the South Side of our town. So when I got the deal with Jam Down, we recreated the beat, done by one of his producers called Bubba B. That was with me first. We recreated the beat, and the radio wouldn't let us play it because we had a big riff at the time between the North Side and the South Side of Houston.
Right.
We were kind of, you know, beefing a little bit. We couldn't go over there. They couldn't go over here. So the radio wouldn't play it. The only reason why they took it because, like I tell people now, in order if you want to get to the radio, it was so hot in the streets. It was so big in the streets they couldn't deny it, and then it had a dance to it, which we didn't make the song for a dance, and we just was doing something and we just was shocking and rocking and having a good time, and it ended up being something big. And after that, the song took off to so many. I'm talking about all across the world, all across the region, and people fell in love with it. People fell in love with it more for the dance than even knowing. A lot of people don't even know nothing about the South Side and the North Side riff. Everybody think the song was a dance song, and it took off. And in 1998, it was voted the #1 H-Town classic of all time.
That's right.
And it was great, man. It was times in my career where I wanted to get rid of Southside because that's all people knew me for was Southside. And it was driving me crazy. And I was like, man, I got way more songs than the Southside, but that's all they wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And later in my careers now, I embraced it. You know what I'm saying? One of my biggest sellers is one of my biggest songs ever. It's still a classic. And I just started looking at it like the raw bass song, It Takes Two.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It just became big, and it did so much for my career. And at some time, I used to think I wasn't going gonna get past Southside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I ended up getting past Southside, and it done so great for me. So stick to your craft. When you love something, you do it, and we stuck to it. And at the end of the day, man, it's one of the biggest songs on the north side and the south side.
Well, and I appreciate that input, and it makes me think about, he started with the south side, or actually before that, Pimpin' Pins, and then kind of matriculated into bigger and better things, even though that's probably still one of his biggest songs, like he said, ever. You know, that brings me, and I'm kind of switching gears a little bit here, because I'm looking here at Professor Knowles, and it takes me back when the South Side was going on. That's when that's one genre. That's the rap. Then we have the pop, almost R&B side of it jumping off with Professor Knowles here and Destiny's Child. Around that same time, I want to say, wasn't it around the same time?
We were South Side.
Was that?
Get it right, we were South Side.
It's on the south side. So, Professor Knowles, I want you to tell us about making that journey, starting the Destiny's Child, and then the difficulties that you faced, and kind of when you made that hit that propelled you to the next level in terms of major distribution, going independent to major distribution, and when you kind of made your big breakthrough, because we're going to have you discuss Destiny's Child, Beyonce, and then eventually The Blush, but let's start with Destiny Child.
I'm going to give you the short version. We have other people on the panel.
Mm-hmm.
I first, though, I want to acknowledge, I see a lot of ERM,
Mm-hmm.
entertainment recording management students of yours, of mine, of past, of now current. Would you please just stand up if you're an ERM major? ERM, give it up, please.
All right.
ERM majors.
Good job. Good show up.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, short version, I love what you said, Lil Kiki, about passion. You know, passion, hard work, love for the music. I was in corporate America, in the medical field. I was no longer passionate about that. And I tell young people, follow your passion. What is it that you're passionate about? So I had to ask myself that question. I'm not passionate about selling diagnostic imaging. What am I passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
So I started thinking. I had a love of music.
Okay.
I didn't really understand the business aspect of music.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I did is I went back to school.
Okay.
Probably at 40 years old, I went back to school to understand, if I was going to get in the music industry, that I would understand the business side of it.
Okay.
And there's a message inside of that. No longer passionate, found my passion. I had to identify what is it I'm passionate about,
Mm-hmm.
and then act on that. And the first thing I did, was to go back to school.
Okay.
Knowledge is power, right?
That's right.
And for me, it was in our home. I took a bedroom, turned it into an office. Still have that same phone number today,
Wow.
some 27 years later. And it really wasn't Destiny's Child. That's the Jedi mind trick.
There we
Those
go.
in my class know that, right? The Jedi mind trick. The first artist I really signed to Music World Artist Management was Lil O. Lil O. Lil O had to remind me, stop calling me Little O.
I'm
It's
little.
Lil O. And we got Lil O on MCA Records, and at that time, that was the rap label you wanted to be in. And we had some success with his first single and second single. So that's where I started.
Okay.
I was going on tour with UGK,
Mm-hmm.
Having to carry the bag. We won't talk about that
Mm-hmm.
and what was in the bag. That was my job for Ma West, having her crown royal on time.
Yeah.
But that's how it started for me. And then the Destiny's Child. And success is failure.
Yeah.
You to become successful, there will be failure. That's what I want young people to know. You have to be prepared for failure, but you have to learn from failure. And we made a lot of mistakes in the beginning. The young ladies were way too young. I actually, in audition with Columbia Records, stopped the audition and said, you know, they're too young. There's time for them to grow. And they had to grow and rehearse, and it takes years. It requires years to be great. There's a book that talks about doing it how many times? 10,000 hours.
There you go.
Right? 10,000 hours. And we talk about that. To be really great at something, you would have had to have done it 10,000 hours. And so I talked to new artists, and I asked them, how many times have you rehearsed that song? And they say, you know, I rehearsed that song for 2 weeks. Well, you won't believe this. When people go on like the Grammys and they perform for 3 minutes, they rehearse that song every day for 3 months just to do 3 minutes, just to kind of give you an idea. But that was it. You know, we Destiny's Child started. We had our success. A lot of you probably don't know this. We had a screwed version of No, No, No. You should have seen those white folks when I went up to Columbia Records and said, this is a screw. They were like, what the heck? If you really go to the single, you can actually get the chop and screw version. But, you know, our success was because also the ladies, their work ethics.
Okay.
They had tremendous work ethics, and they were passionate about it. And, you know, hopefully my vision took us where they are today, and then in their solo careers, and then the opportunity to expand music world.
And something that you said caught my attention. Right in the middle of the audition, you said that you realized they were too young. And this is speaking directly to the audience right here. When you say too young, you mean not experienced enough in terms of didn't rehearse enough times, or just needed a maturity, just didn't realize the position they were in or the opportunity before them? Because I want them to know when you embark on what you're going for, and when you have that opportunity, you need to be prepared. So this is kind of defining what preparation is. You know, you think you're ready because you went and put 2, 4, 5, 6, 20 hours in, when here it is, Professor Knowles is saying that he's in the audition and had to stop it because he realized that they were too young. So tell them a little bit about
It was
that
a
too young.
combination of a lot of things. One, they had lost on Star Search.
Okay.
I believe they were 9 and 10 when they got the opportunity to be on Star Search.
Okay.
Now they're 12, 13 years old.
Okay.
And it was a little thing. It was a thing about the night before I had shared with them not to go swimming in the swimming pool because I knew that they would get stopped up, and Beyonce really would get stopped up. And sure enough, that happened.
Yeah.
And it showed to me also that they weren't mentally prepared yet. It also showed me in the music industry, whenever you're young, people put a title on you, and it's hard to lose that title.
Okay.
And I saw that they needed to get older. They needed to develop because they were young girls. They also needed to develop physically as well.
Okay, I see.
So it was a combination of me seeing all of that.
Okay, okay. I mean, that's priceless right there, which moves me right down the panel to D-Rec. And I'm kind of I want you guys to get like a base, almost like kind of like a history of what these successful individuals did as part of their plight to get to where they're going, okay? They can't tell you all at one time, but we give bits and pieces. And it moves me to a good friend of mine, D-Rec, Rec Shop Records CEO. And that's a mogul in itself, but a pioneer around here, okay? How did he sign Fat Pat? How did he get Big Mo? How did he have ESG, Pokey? How did he deal with everyone? And Kiki went to his producers. What was he doing that everybody else wasn't doing? How did he beat everybody to the punch? Rick, can you tell us about what did you do? How did you set yourself up to beat everyone to the punch and become successful?
As far as getting at these orders, I can't say I got them all because Kiki was the one I was trying to get first. I had 2 plane tickets to Atlanta. I had one for Pat and one for Kiki. And then I found out he already was almost through with the album. So, but Nah, I used to come back and forth, going back and forth to grad school. I went to grad school at Clark. But I kept coming home a lot, and every time I would come home, I was getting introduced to the screw movement. And, Pat and Kiki stuck out. It's pretty much a no-brainer. But I had also looked at, they had a movement kind of took place like that in Atlanta with the Lumberjacks.
Okay.
That was kind of turned into the organized noise and stuff. And, it's very rarely that you get into a community where the people actually support artists, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times people look at their partner like, I can't see him like that. Right. So anyway, so that's what started that. But when I came here, kind of to get back to the subject of success, everything that we did, it was never really like based on what other people might define success as.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Some people define success as being on TV or, making it to this certain level or getting a major deal or something. For us, success was, we felt like, no one was respecting the type of music that we were making.
Okay.
We felt like, we were kind of abandoned. We were a long ways from New York and a long ways from LA. So, and my goal, and when we started Rec Shop Records, when we put down our purpose, that was one of our purposes, was to spread this music and this culture, beyond where it has been. And I think that was the motivating force behind how we was able to achieve success, because we weren't trying to get a deal. We were trying to just sell as many independent records as we could.
Wow.
And it helped me to be successful in terms of building the proper organization, because, our little deal was we were the first major independent label. And the reason why I said that was because we tried to operate like a major.
Yes.
So instead of just doing stuff out the backseat of our car and whatnot, I actually, most of the interns that started with me were from here.
Wow.
And some of those people went on to be marketing directors at the radio station, and a couple other people went on to work at some major labels, so I'm proud of that as well. But we staffed up, and we had some people to handle, to do radio. We had the people that handled the streets. We had somebody do PR. We had staff meetings, and we just took something street and made it professional and organized, and it played a big role in our success. The other thing, back to what you said earlier, was, being fair, trying to be fair with people.
Yeah.
And I think at that time, a lot of artists were attracted to that. A lot of other places that they had opportunities maybe to record and get out there, they didn't feel they were being treated fairly.
Okay.
And I just think that, you don't have to be a bad guy to make it in this business. And I think that has something to do with why some of those guys chose to work with me.
Wow. And I paid attention to everything you just said, and it's one of those things that I almost preach in my classroom. I tell them that it really is 90% business and 10% talent. But what D-Reg did, and what I want you guys to understand, is he ran his business like a business. He sold more units than basically any independent company down here because it was a business. He set it up to sell records. So if you think that there's a shortcut in this business, you're definitely wrong. You're definitely wrong. He mirrored his independent record company to that of a major record company. And that's how you do the business, okay? That's how you do the business. And for the aspiring artists out there, if you're about to do business with the record company, then you need to be looking at a record company that is, I don't want to just say professional, but set up properly, okay? So when it comes in, when the music comes in, it goes out. When it sells, you basically can count your money at the end of the day, okay? And that is very, very important, that the business is set up properly. And that's a huge, he just said it, that's a huge reason and contributing factor to why he was so successful and still is so successful. And that's a long time ago. Okay, that was a while ago. We were talking about way back in the mid to late 90s, okay, and which is going to be a perfect segue into our next panelist, Mr. Derek McKinney. What he does is, he's been talking to me about this for the longest, that whole social media side of exploiting the market. YouTube and Twitter and just the entire social media. But he was talking about, last year, he was talking about, along with Professor Knowles, streaming, the importance of streaming, okay? And lo and behold, who comes out with the next streaming distribution deal? Jay-Z, Tidal. Here we are. Now, this is the day and age of social media. This is the day and age of social media, but we have to keep in mind that you have to mix the past with the
We have
present.
to acknowledge our provost.
This is our provost of the university, Dr. Ward.
Provost
Dr.
Ward.
James Ward is in the back right there. That's right. How you doing? Glad to have you.
Today's his birthday?
Be careful out there.
Is it his birthday
Be
for
careful
real?
out there. Ms. Hancock, be careful out there. Good to see you, Dr. Ward. Well, listen, like I was saying before, we have to take the past, okay, and mix it in with the present. Understand that they still have hard CDs out there, okay? You still need to understand the old way of doing business and creating that hard CD, even though it's moved into the social media age, okay? That's why we have Mr. Derek McKinney up here to talk about the effects of streaming, but not only the effects of streaming and how business is going right now, but tell us a little bit about how that works in itself, because and it applies to the recording music business itself. How this streaming deal is working. What is Jay-Z doing? Because a lot of people say the deal went down with Tidal, and I guess you have to be a member to get his music now, and it's all about streaming. For the average person, for the person that doesn't know what that is, Derek, please break that down for him.
Well, I think with the streaming aspect of things, what Jay did was he really shook up the industry, man. He showed a lot of people that I don't need y'all. Like, I think he really changed the landscape of the music business, of how the major label is structured, to where they control everything you do. And I think he just recently came out and said, like, technically speaking, he doesn't have a record deal. So now he has the opportunity to release his stuff directly through Tidal. So talk about going direct to consumer is phenomenal. And they had Jay-Z, Madonna, J. Cole, Beyonce, and Kanye, and everybody who's a part of it. And that's great, because I think there's a revenue sharing deal in the process. But for me, on the indie side, well, I work with R. Kelly. I do his social media marketing and branding. Then I also handle Snooty Wild and some of his things. So I get to see it from both sides. But from the indie side, which is I'm more passionate about, is to have an independent artist to be able to say, hey, my project is on Tidal, my project is on Pandora, watch my video on Vivo. It gives you, it shows everybody else I'm playing the game the right way. Are you going to make a ton of money off Tidal today? No. But at least you're in position to, even if you get a hit tomorrow, can you benefit from it? If somebody's looking up new music in China and they're on Tidal, they still have the opportunity to find you. The streaming royalty rates aren't the greatest. They're just not. I think Taylor Swift pulled her music off Spotify. She had like 32 million or some ridiculous number of spins and got a check for like 18 grand. So she was like, wow, no, we'll never do that again. So a lot of major artists are doing that. But again, that's a major artist. From an indie label, you can create your own Spotify playlist and then promote that. Create your own Tidal playlist, promote that. Your Pandora station, create your Pandora station, take that link, promote that, to show that, hey, impress the majors so I can at least play the game the way that you guys play it.
I mean, that's outstanding information. And here it is, we have 2 hours to try to hone in on the major issues of having success in the music business. But I wanted to introduce all of the members of the panel and have them kind of talk about these different issues. 10 minutes. Talk about these different issues. We're going to have time for Q&A also. We're going to have time for Q&A, but we're gonna take a brief break in 10 minutes. So what I wanted to kind of go into at this point was like the breakthrough times, okay, and what they feel that needs to be done in order for you guys out there to be successful in the music business, if you have a chance to be successful. For the student right now in this day and age, combining everything that I said experience matters, everything that you've been through, what is the best advice that you could possibly tell them to do in order to be successful in the music business here?
Outwork everybody around you. Nothing else matters. I go to bed at like 4 a.m. I'm up at 6:30. Every day, 7 days a week. I don't know what a weekend is. I don't know what a holiday is. Every day is a work day. Until you can outwork me, it don't nothing you say. I don't care how great you can sing, how smart you are, how many degrees. If you can't outwork somebody, and the funny thing is, man, I grew up like jamming. I'm a huge fan. Fast forward, my indie artist Tim Ned has worked and produced records for him. I used to go to their office on Bissonnette and grab all the Big Mo posters for free and go every street corner and hang them up. Take pictures, snap it, print them out, bring them back to his office. I still do that right now. I hang up, shameless plug, I have a couple of interns here. We all went down to South by Southwest. It's raining. I'm passing out flyers, CDs, taking pictures. Nobody's gonna outwork me. Some of y'all, no offense, are too cool. Y'all are too cool. You're not gonna get your hair messed up. You worried about your J's. You don't work hard enough. That's yeah, they want to check. Like, you gotta work. That's the biggest thing. I love social media, but you're not gonna release your album on Instagram and have that same effect Beyonce did. You don't have 10 million people waiting on you. You gotta put in the work, man. I pass out flyers, got the social media information on there, but everything that these professors are teaching you, things that we can share with y'all, take your notes, soak it in, live it, love it, but man, just outwork everybody. It's your homeboy, it's a competition. You're gonna outwork him. If you do makeup, you're gonna do better makeup than your homegirl. Outwork her. Put the work in.
Kiki, talk to us about that work. You've been in the game for so long, and you keep reinventing yourself, recreating yourself from label to label. Talk about that success, man. Talk about what it is that you have in you to continue to do what you do.
Well, the first thing a lot of artists need to do, not just artists, people in the industry, period, is find out where your favor at. This ain't for everybody. And that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow. And it sounds negative, but it's the truth. This is just not for everybody, and you got to find out where your favor in. If you're a producer, you might not. It might not be for you to be a rapper. If you're a rapper, it might not be for you to be a producer. Everybody can't be a CEO. Everybody can't be the marketing director. So the thing is, find out where your passion is and what you can do, because at the end of the day, the music industry is not for everybody. It's the odds and the percentages worse is going to the NFL or to the NBA. It's just as worse, you know what I'm saying? Everybody not gonna make it, you know what I'm saying? So my thing was, you had to find out what you could do multiple things, and find out which one that you were good in, when you were great in, you had passion in, and which would you decide to do if I didn't make it, it didn't matter. It's some people that got, one goal. Either I'm gonna be Beyonce or I ain't gonna be nothing. Either I'm gonna be Lil Wayne or I ain't gonna be nothing. See, I never had those goals. I can be the greatest. A lot of y'all ain't gonna be Lil Kiki, you know what I'm saying? So, or Derrick Dixon, you know what I'm saying? So my whole thing was, I had to figure out. People used to always ask me, you don't make beats? That wasn't for me. I had a team around me that made beats. I let everybody shine, do their thing. I didn't take all the credit. I didn't try to go make the beats. I didn't try to do the marketing. I didn't try to do the management. Even with my team now and everything that I do, my merchandise, I give everybody a role and I make sure that they're passionate. The people who doing my merchandise right now, they're not making beats. They're not in the studio doing raps. So that's one of the most important things that made me successful as an independent. I made sure that I could be one of the greatest independent artists ever, you know what I'm saying, and doing what I do. 20 years later, I'm able to still work with a younger crowd, an older crowd, whatever I need to do, because I understand my role in it. It's always room for improvement. There's always room to get bigger, but you have to find out where your role is and which one you're going to play and which one you can be the best at, because some people pick the wrong strategy to go about it, and this game is made on a lot of favor. I ain't just saying from what religion you're in, praying or whatever, but The game has a lot of favor on it. Just like the #1 pick in the draft, he might not even make an NFL team. You know what I'm saying? So it's everybody in here the best. Your best friend, everybody. So, you know, just make sure you pick what the right goal that you want to go into.
Appreciate that, Key. On that note right there, we said we had to take a brief intermission.
Can I
Okay,
say one thing?
Yeah.
You asked me to be on a panel. Can I say one thing? Do we have time? You're coming back? I'd rather say it now. Can I do that? I'm Matthew Knowles. Can I do that? All right. Now that we got that clear, the last thing the thing I want to leave with you guys before we take this break, and I've heard panelists say it. You know, we talked about 10% artistry, 90% business. I remember when this 27 years ago, we had black African-American entertainment attorneys in this industry. We have 4 or 5. We had black business managers in this industry. I think we have 2 today. If you look at all of the major artists with black managers, I think we have 1 today with a major artist. I'm just saying, we look at video directors.